Chapter 16.
Draco knew he didn't have to go to such great lengths, but there was something incredibly satisfying about defying his father's snobby orders with a gift that was neither unattractive nor cheap. The morning after his father commanded him to stay away from her, he delivered the perfect birthday present to the girl in question. He remembered that on this very morning, Potter received his Nimbus 2000. Back then, the news had infuriated him, but now, it served as a comforting reminder that he had played his role well in ensuring Quidditch remained part of Potter's fate. Yet, Draco took far more pleasure in watching Claudius, his father's owl, deliver the parchment-wrapped package to Granger during breakfast. Her head whipped around in surprise as Claudius made a dignified, albeit sour, departure back to the Ollery. While Potter's lengthy package captured most of Gryffindor's curiosity, how anyone failed to guess it was a broom was beyond him. Only Draco paid attention as Granger discovered her gift. With it was a hastily scribbled note, "Happy 12th, Granger." He slinked out of sight the moment she looked up, fearing she'd either reject it dramatically or thank him too effusively. He took advantage of Zabini's exit to slip out of the hall, bracketed by Vince and Greg. Later, as Draco puzzled over a blank piece of parchment, unsure of what to write to his father, Granger approached him after dinner with a hissed, "Draco, may I speak with you?" He frowned and indicated she could sit, then nodded towards the stacks. But she stood her ground. "Outside," she commanded, hinting at an impending scene, but Draco felt a flicker of comfort as her wrist sported the dragon tooth bracelet, its colors dancing blue in the sunset. They walked to the Quidditch stands, sunlight making him squint as lack of sleep tugged at his eyelids. Despite the setting sun, she pressed on until they reached the benches. "I thought you disliked Quidditch," he quipped. She sighed, taking a seat. "It's off schedule today," she replied bluntly, "so it's quite a rare escape." Her imitation of his disdain for their peers amused and dismayed him in equal measure. "Draco, I can't accept this." She thrust her wrist into the fading light, and he admired the spoils of his skill. "Why not?" he asked. "It's just too generous," she protested, shaking her wrist. "I realize your family is wealthy, but this must have cost a lot." Draco hadn't meant to brag about his transfiguration skills, but now seemed the moment. "Granger, it cost nothing. Pansy's toy dragon gave its necklace for this." He added quickly, lest she think he'd carried around such childish things. She didn't care for the toy. Granger's astonishment flashed. "You transfigured it? They seem like real gems." "Just crystal and turquoise," he shrugged modestly. Enchanted to last, yet her skepticism persisted. "Then it's even more amazing," Granger sighed mistily. "You went through that much trouble?" "Hardly an effort," Draco lied, catching her contemplative eye. "Making it yourself means more than expensive trinkets," she mused aloud, causing him to wonder at the apology lacing her words. "Draco, although our acquaintance is brief, your intelligence and kindness do not escape me. Thank you for your generosity, not only with this bracelet but your time. Whatever said about your family, I recognize your strengths. To say I'm honored to call you a friend, if you ever welcome such. But only that." She inhaled, piecing her courage. "We're too young for anything else. I value you as a friend, that's all." Draco burst into laughter, clutching his sides from the irony. "Granger, that's why you brought me here, to clarify that? Assuming I harbor affections." Her face was Weasley red. "When you give jewelry and we're not even friends." Clearly, she'd learned romance from Muggle novels. "Merlin, Granger, don't fret. I assure you, there's no chance of ever developing those feelings." Granger looked more alarmed than reassured, her eyes brimming unexpectedly. "What's funny about the idea of liking me, Draco? Is it because you think I'm not pretty?" Caught off guard, Draco laughed again, not derisively, but with genuine mirth. "No, Granger, not at all," he assured, recalling how she would one day captivate Victor Crumb. Draco Malfoy found himself reminiscing about Hermione Granger. While she might appear somewhat unkempt and with prominent teeth these days, he vividly recalled how beautiful he believed she would become. Driven by a sudden impulse to ease her insecurity, he blurted out, "It's just that you're a girl." Her stare was blank as he explained further, "I don't like girls, Granger. Any of them." Her intelligent face showed no sign of understanding. "Only lads, okay? Just chaps. I'm into blokes." To illustrate, he drew out his wand and added, "Crooked as my wand, understand? Is that clear enough?" His explanation was met with Granger's astonishment, which only made Draco laugh harder. He was doubled over with laughter when she poked him sharply in the ribs. "Hush! Look, there's someone down there." Draco's laughter halted abruptly when he noticed Harry Potter below and then above them, as Harry launched into the air on his brand-new Nimbus 2000. "Relax," Draco assured Granger. "He can't see us. We're hidden in the shadow by the wall," pulling them closer to the stands for cover. "That's Harry," Granger exclaimed with a whisper. "He's made the Gryffindor Quidditch team. And all because of his misbehavior. Can you believe it?" Although she'd just faced Draco's candid confession, it didn't stop her from indulging in her preferred pastime of criticizing unjust advantages. Her words, however, couldn't contest the undeniable eloquence of Potter's flying skills as he zipped through the goalposts and made swift rotations around the pitch, exuding the fierceness akin to a deadly spell ready to strike. First years aren't typically granted permission to play. If he's secured the Seeker's spot, you must have a chance at Slytherin. You're equally talented. Draco knew he wasn't on Potter's level, but Granger's ardent loyalty reassured him that she had accepted his revelation. "Even knowing I'm that way?" "Oh, I couldn't care less," Granger retorted. "I'm well aware of such things. My uncle's similar. He has a partner he lives with, and I've read about it. It's not a concern. It was a simple misunderstanding." Her gaze followed Potter with a resistant fervor, mirrored by Draco. Observing Potter with irritation was as routine as casting spells or dreaming for Draco. "My father said Uncle Gary has always known," Granger continued. "Were you always aware, too?" "Yes," Draco fibbed. "I've always known." Relaxing into the lie, the sheer relief felt almost surreal in its intensity. Though this was actually the very first time he'd confided in someone, regardless of the timeline. The comfort of pretending to have always known, to not have experienced the turmoil and self-negotiations over his identity. Returning to Hogwarts offered him the chance to reinvent himself as Draco Malfoy, the prodigy who seemed to master classes effortlessly, as a confident thinker fully accepting of his identity, who would not let his father's influence dominate him, or wouldn't go out of his way to impose himself on others, unless provoked. If pushed, he would retaliate fiercely. He wondered if Potter perceived anything different in him now, or just the exaggerated version of a pretentious Slytherin. Had the accumulated knowledge of 7 years granted him an advantage in impressing Potter, or at least lessened Potter's disdain? From here, watching Potter slice through the sky with the setting sun as his backdrop and gracefully descend at Oliver Wood's call, Draco reflected on how naturally gifted Potter seemed. It wasn't fair for anyone to excel on a broom so naturally, as though the air itself favored him, accommodating Potter and granting him every possible advantage, as if the chosen one deserved nothing less. To Draco, Potter embodied everything he aspired to be, yet no matter how many second chances or lifetimes he was offered, he doubted he'd ever reach that level. Dear Mother, please convey to Father my differing views on what truly brings dishonor to the Malfoy name. I welcome correspondence with him should he desire a meaningful conversation instead of buying into baseless rumors spread by Hogwarts envious and mediocre. Inform Father that the sorting hat prolonged its decision-making during my sorting not due to indecision, but to properly weigh which house corresponded to my numerous virtues. The hat explicitly stated my attributes were suited for each house: the bravery of Gryffindor, intellect of Ravenclaw, loyalty and compassion of Hufflepuff, and the shrewdness of Slytherin. Only after acknowledging these merits did it honor my preference to join Slytherin, recognizing my superior judgment. Regarding the Quidditch incident with Harry Potter, if Father was misled, know that Potter instigated everything, influenced by Ronald Weasley's disdain for our family. Weasley harbors animosity, likely spreading false rumors as part of this vendetta. Rest assured, within Slytherin, I hold a respected position among peers who look up to me. The Gryffindor Father mentions is indeed Muggle-born, named Hermione Granger. Her presence proves exceptions to the rule regarding her lineage's perceived inferiority. As you taught me, valuing purity of blood must coexist with recognizing and seizing extraordinary opportunities. From our first meeting, it was clear Granger's intellect and resolve would propel her to prominence. She might become Minister of Magic one day. Should such an assessment seem rash now, time shall vindicate my insights. Rest assured, no inappropriate attachment exists with Granger, merely a pragmatic academic collaboration beneficial to my studies. Dear Sir or Madam, I want to emphasize that my primary focus is my academic pursuits. It is imperative that I excel in my studies. This is not solely due to my status as a Malfoy, but also because my ambition is to join the esteemed ranks of unspeakables. Best regards, Draco Malfoy.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with more audiobooks. Happy listening!